Check out thechosenprime.com in the link in the description below for this and other great items. Welcome everyone to a Radio Free Cybertron review. I'm your host Diecast, and today we have DX9's Chigurh, or Choo Choo, or Chugga, uh, which I'm assuming is what the name comes from. The Chigurh, if you say it slow enough, Chigurh, it sounds like kind of a train noise. So it's cool. I think that's the reason, but I could be wrong. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the packaging, which is one of the reasons the camera is so far away. It's hard to get this box in the shot because it is so long. And the reason for that is it comes packaged, Chigurh comes packaged in train mode. So on the top here, it's very DX9-esque. Triple Changer, DX9, Rise of the Empire. Jettison some weight or we'll never make it to Digital Star. And 2015 down on the bottom. Just kind of put it long ways to show you. On the side here we have trains, planes, and hot rods. So yeah, and then there's Astrotrain in his robot mode, or Chigurh, uh, if you want to kid yourself and think this isn't an Astrotrain. DX9 on the top. Honor, pride, victory, join the Empire. Which I really like. It's a nice box. DX9s and Unique Toys have the best packaging out of all the third parties because it's very stiff packaging and thick. And I really like that because you can open this box and you don't have to worry about the box getting damaged. Here is the plastic tray that Chigurh comes in. It's black with a clear plastic lid. And then in the box, other than Chigurh, we have a really thick spec card. You can see the Inner Dream Eternal Hobby on the top, and it's digital XTAL9 toys, which I've never even realized. I just thought it was DX9, but I'm not sure what XTAL is. So, and he is D-05 military transport. Another DX9 Toys 2015 down on the bottom of the card. On the back of the card, and you can see me very clear. There we go, get me out of frame. You have Chigurh. Both or all three of his modes. I almost said both his modes. It's not every day we do a triple changer here, so this is kind of new ground. It's something that I've transformed this thing a couple times, and I feel like I'm pretty good with it now. The first time, I think it took me roughly about an hour and a half to transform it through all three modes because I did not want to break it. Um, Going through the modes, basically. It also comes with a nice little comic strip. I'll zoom in on half of it, and then the other half. And you can see Blitzwing is, prominently featured in this, so I'm going to assume there's a Blitzwing coming. Just because, the only other people on here are Invisible and Blitzwing. So, yeah, that's probably our next triple changer from DX9. And then on the front of this, you have just advertisements of all their figures, and I really like that. It shows pride in the line that DX9's creating to show off all these, and of course the upcoming figure D06-Carry, which is Rodimus Prime. He looks excellent, and you'll see with the transformation in Chigurh that it's so nice that it makes me really excited for Rodimus, because it wouldn't be too hard to be better than the official hot rod that we got. And then this is the instruction sheet. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. So definitely, that's one of the reasons I'm doing the review. Hopefully this will help you when you transform yours, because I'll say this right up front, I definitely recommend picking up this figure. This is like, it's an awesome figure, and I highly, highly recommend it. Masterpiece, definitely. Um, Let me see if I have anything in vehicle mode. I don't actually have anything in vehicle mode to compare him to right now, other than like a deluxe Bumblebee. You can see he's about 2 deluxe Bumblebees long for RAD Bumblebee. Um, I have Prime in robot mode, Masterpiece Prime, of course, so we'll bring him in for the robot comparison. But let's go ahead, and since this is going to be probably a pretty long video, let's just jump right into it. There is this back panel which does not come on Chigurh out of package. It's in the packaging with the instructions. He does come packaged in trade mode, like I said, so when you get him, this is how he's going to be out of the box. But that just pops on just like that on the back to give you somewhere to put that panel. And it does act as a flight stand in his airplane mode. So definitely, and in robot mode it fits underneath his head. So there is something to do with this panel, all 3 modes. It doesn't bother me that it's only a stand in the airplane mode, because I'm saying airplane and it's a space shuttle. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. It's Friday right now, about 8:30, and I just started this recording, so that's one of those days. So we'll put that off to the side for now. Come up here and also pop off his gun slash wheel for shuttle mode slash also part of the stand in shuttle mode. And we're going to go ahead and just transform him right into shuttle mode from train mode, because that's what the instructions tell you to do first. So that's what I've learned to do. Also, if you get stuck, at least I'm going in the same direction the instructions are. So we're just going to pop this back panel off. 2 sides come off. Then we're going to get pulled up, just get it out of the way. Next, we're going to come down to the legs, or to these gray panels right here, and they will just separate just like that. Then we're going to pull these front panels out, and then what you can do is come down to the feet, or not the feet, they're in the front of the shuttle, and the feet. We're just going to rotate them around, pop this little piece out right here, flip this around. And now that I'm thinking about it, shuttle mode's last. So yeah, we're going to robot mode on him, just because I want to keep the same directions that the instructions go. So, got the foot made. Pull the foot out. There's a little slide right there. So you pull the full foot out, and that allows it to rotate into a foot position. We're going to pop, as I'm off camera, I'm going to pop this gray panel off, pull that out, and then that rotates down, and that'll form the bottom part of the leg. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Pull that gray piece just out enough so it unclips. Pull that up, then fold that together. Then the foot on this side is the same thing. Flip that out. Rotate the foot, the side of the foot all the way around. Pop out this other half. Peg that in. And we'll just have them hang out for a second, because now we're going to go up top to the arms. And the arms, what you want to do, a whole top of the train just splits in half, and these are basically going to be his arm panels. Now that we have his arms kind of out of the way, want to rotate his waist. His hips are kind of on a joint where they have to split at the same time. So once you get them split, now we just straighten out the legs. These purple panels go in front, and then the foot, the wheels for the train are on the outside, just like that. Same thing on the other side. And then these little bits on the back just go up against the back of his leg, and that gives him his heels so he can stand. And the one thing I forgot to do on the bottom of the feet here, there are little wheels for the train mode, and they will just rotate around. That way he can stand flat. Just like that. So now we'll come up here to the arms, or what will become the arms. And the best thing to do is just do this one side at a time. You're going to pull this out. It's going to gap just a little bit. Flip this panel up. Then we're going to flip it out. That allows you to bend at that joint. We're also going to come up to the next one. Kind of just pop this panel off. And the easiest way I've found is to rotate these two panels kind of at the same time by grabbing this section right here till you can bend this whole piece forward, and that'll allow this piece on the side to roll around. Sorry. That's going to allow this whole piece on the side to rotate around, which is going to form his hand. And actually, before we do that, we just want to flip out the hand. And the way we do that is grab the hand, pull it out. But you can't just pull the hand all the way around. What you need to do is, once the hand gets this far, is push it down, and then it'll allow you to rotate it around the full way. And then you just got to rotate his hand once more. So let's go ahead and do that same thing for the other side. Or rotate that back, that panel around. It clips in right underneath the back of his arm. And then this piece up here just flips in. Now on the arm, we're almost done. Turn this panel on the back around. I think this is coming up a little dark, and I'm really not sure why. But you basically have it bent like that. Rotate this up, and at the chest, this panel flips around to become his chest plate or breastplate. And they are tight. They are very hard to get out, but luckily the pegs are thick and the tabs are thick, so it's not an issue like you feel like you're going to break it. It's just something you have to be careful with because they're tight. So same thing on this side. We can do this side a little bit faster. We're just going to rotate this panel around so it's facing that way. Pull this out. I'll try and get a closer look at that. Pull that out. Flip that up. Pull the arm out a little bit. There's a slide right where that screw is. Then we're going to do the same thing at the front. If you want, you can go ahead and rotate the hand out first. Just remember, once you get that hand about 90 degrees, just push that back and then push it over. It'll allow you to rotate the hand out. Especially going the other way, that's one of the hardest things to learn, is how to flip that hand around. Close up this panel here at the top. And then again, just rotate this around so you can bend it. And then that gives clearance for the bottom of his arm. Now we're just going to rotate that up again. This whole back section. This piece bends out at this hinge. So there's a lot of hinges going on in those long arm panels. But as you can see, once you get that up, you just bring that chest panel over. Once it lines up, it'll click into place. Flip the wings out. Unfortunately, these bottom wings don't stay folded up. But bring the head up. And we're just going to leave that up like that for a second, because what we're going to do is take that panel that goes right behind his head, slide that in, and then his head will collapse on top of it. Then the back panel clips in, and there you have Chigurh in his Chigurh. Oh, one last thing. His waist, this piece pops out, flips around, and comes down. And there you have Chigurh in his robot mode. And he is absolutely fantastic. There is a little bit of a gap on the inside of his forearm, but it's not that bad. Not that bad at all, and he is very solid and really nice head sculpt. Really like it on him. Then we're going to go ahead and just take the gun, or turn this into a gun, flip out the scope, then the barrel comes out, and you can flip down the handle. And to put it in his hand, what you do is you just open his fingers as far as you can. His trigger finger is a separate hinge, or two joints, and then the bottom three fingers are on a single joint. And there's a little slot right in his hand that you can plug the gun into. There you go. Had to move it off camera to do it, but once you clip it in, it's not going anywhere. It's staying on there. I could pick him up by his gun, and he's holding fine. So go ahead and just do a quick size comparison with him. We'll bring in, I know he's bigger than Soundwave, and he's a tad bigger than Prime, but not much. But you can see that they just look really nice together, and this really does, to me, represent a masterpiece figure. So, and there he is with Bumblebee. Just because I have him laying around, so why not? And they look really great. I mean, there's really nothing I can complain about this guy. He's just a solid figure, and he's actually fun to transform once you learn how to do it the first time, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting this to be a fun transformer, and he is. So let's go ahead and get the gun out of the way for now, and then we're gonna go to shuttle mode. And the way we're gonna do that, now that I have to remember more modes, we'll just unpop the back panel, which are, of course, his wings. Pull his head up. Pull the head up. Pop this back panel off. Just put that off to the side for now. And then we're going to collapse the arms, or put the arms back to their train mode. So to do that, first you're going to untab the chest panels. And this is the one thing, as I said, is not... there we go. This is not the easiest thing to do. But it's just tight. The pegs are all big enough that you're not going to break this. And I don't like using tools on my figures, because they have more of a chance of damaging the plastic than I would like. So now that we got those chest panels off, before I forget, I'll rotate his wheels around and put them back on. We can rotate those arms back down, and then just begin the process of straightening them out, which is easier than the original process of making them arms. So that's a good thing. Just be careful to make sure that panel doesn't have any resistance when you're rotating that back around, because that piece is a thicker piece, but there's thin spots on it, so I would be careful to make sure that that's not going to break. And I don't think mine ever will, just because I'm going to be careful transforming it, but... And just rotate this piece around. Till you get to the part where this panel can plug in. There's a little plug right there. And then the last thing is the hand. And like I said, the hand is a little bit difficult if you don't know how to rotate it around. But you have to rotate the hand completely around. Then when you go to rotate it in, so when you get to the 90-degree point, just push that hand all the way up, and that'll allow it to rotate around the rest of the way closed. And it's hard to see, but there's still a gap there, and then you just push the hand up to close that gap. So, same thing on the other side. And I'll try and do this one a little bit faster just so you can see that it's not that bad. Straighten that out. Flip that panel down. Flip this panel back around. And rotate everything around. Until everything clips in. Just like so. And then we're going to take the hand, rotate it around, pull it out, rotate it to 90 degrees, push it forward again, rotate it the rest of the way, and then push it in. And now you have the long panels back for his shuttle mode. And then for the rest of the shuttle mode, we just have to rotate the legs down at the bottom. Come down to the feet, open the feet back up, or split them in half. What that's going to do when we open up the feet, it's going to allow us to rotate the front of the shuttle around. Then we can close the foot back up. Bring the front of the nose of the shuttle around. And then this just pegs and slots in. And doing this on camera is harder than doing it off camera. Because you can use two hands and you don't have to worry about supporting the figure on frame. But there you have the front part of his shuttle. Same thing on this side. Go ahead and open up the foot. Rotate the front of the nose around. Close this up. And that came untabbed. Rotate the nose back down. And collapse the front of the shuttle. And you can see this is pretty easy. Kind of. The legs will just all tab together. one thing I forgot to do, see on the bottom, those little wheels that flip around on the feet, they get me every time. I think like every mode you have to flip them around, but that's why it wasn't tabbing together. So now we'll just go tab that all together. Tabbing, tabbing. Then the legs, you want to make sure they have that hole in them right that. We're going to keep the purple on the outside for this one because the head is going to flip in. This whole piece flips up and the head will sit in the middle of his legs. Just like so. Then come back down to his arm panels, or go back up to his arm panels, and we're going to flip out these thrusters. Again, these are in there kind of tight. And I can tell you it was not this hard the first time I transformed. There we go. It was not this hard the first time I transformed him to flip those out. So that's probably just I pushed them down a little bit too far when I transformed it back. So now that we got those popped out, rotate these up to get that out just a little bit more. And then rotate this panel around. And you're going to see this is going to line up with the bottom of the shuttle. And what I like to do is pull this out right there on that sliding joint. It just seems to form a lot better with Astrotrain. And then we'll push that all together once we get everything flipped around. Same thing on this side. We're going to rotate this panel around, flip out that shuttle piece, and then rotate it in and around at the same time. It's hard to explain, but once you see it, it's a lot easier to do. And then everything just pegs together. There is a little bit of a gap at the front here. And the only thing I can think of, if I'm transforming it right, is that on the inside of these panels, I think the thumb is blocking the wheel ever so slightly from going in. So I actually wonder, experimenting trying to get this gap closed, because that's what everyone was complaining about, was that gap. And it almost looks like there's a way to do it. that kind of worked. So what I did, I'll show it to you on this side, is the thumb, I left that out and facing downwards. That gives more of a gap here for the wheel to go in. That way, when you rotate it around, the thumb goes in that hole, and then that all pegs in. And yeah, I think that's the trick to it. Which is probably something that's not in the instructions or I missed it, but that seems to be the problem that everyone's having with this figure. So that's the hardest part, is getting that lined up. And now all we have to do is come up to the top. We can flip that panel out, then just flip his thruster around, and then you have to turn it to get it out the rest of the way. And then that whole panel will come down and tab in. So now you have a forward thruster jet or shuttle. Same thing on this side. Just pull that out. Then you rotate this around to allow it to turn backwards. Then just close that all up. Pull the fin down. And that is beautiful, because the gap on the front that everyone was having a hard time with is non-existent now, and it holds together really nice. So now we're just gonna collapse the wings on the bottom, and these just tab in. And they tab in pretty well too. And that just popped out. And these wings, that's another thing that's really good. They are not floppy at all. They're really sturdy wings, which I'm really impressed with. There's a lot of impressive stuff about this figure. He is awesome. And collapse the arms a little bit. That's the problem. The arms were just a little bit too compressed. And if you collapse them, they will go in. Those wings will tab in correctly. And then the last thing to do is we're going to take his gun, and we're just going to make that this peg right here will go on those two pegs right there, and it kind of holds everything together and gives him that front wheel. And the front wheel you just bend down. Then you can pull out these two wheels, and there you have Chigurh in his shuttle mode. And a lot of people were complaining that it's wide, and it is a pretty wide shuttle, and it's short. This way, we'll bring out Bumblebee, and you can see he's about a Bumblebee and a half now. We measure everything in Bumblebees because why not? But it's really solid, and it's tabbed together really well, so he's not going to come apart. The front panels that are these arm panels that everyone was having trouble pegging in, I think that is definitely the trick, is make sure you keep that thumb up, and that thumb will go in a groove on the inside. and that's what's preventing that panel from fully staying compressed like it should. You can see, I'll bring it in close, and there's no gap there. So let me see if I can. And then to do the flight stand, all you have to do is pull this piece back, and then just where the hole is, push that in just like that, and there you have him on his flight stand. Which, they use that part decently in 2 of the 3 modes. I really don't mind at all that it acts as a stand for the 3rd mode, because the shuttle, to me, is excellent. It is a little wide. It's about a car length wide, but it's a shuttle. It should be wide. There's going to be a lot of people in that shuttle. Maybe a tad too short, or not long enough, but the width I think is fine on this guy. You can see, even on the top, everything is tabbed in really nice. When I first transformed him, before I found that thumb trick, there was a little bit of a gap here on the front that I couldn't get rid of, but that seemed to eliminate that gap too. So, yeah, really happy with this guy. My inclination of what's going to happen, or prediction of what's going to happen, this is going to be the next Quake Wave. Once these are gone, people are going to desire this figure because it's a masterpiece scale figure and it's done excellent. They're going to desire this figure to the same lengths that they desire the Quake Wave right now. It maybe even more, because this is a triple changer. This is much more impressive of a transformation due to it being a triple changer. So that's pretty much all I have. I hope you liked the review. Definitely go to the Chosen Prime and pick this guy up. I think he's $5 less than most retail stores right now. And like I said, as an investment, if you were inclined to pick up another one, I think this is going to be one of those figures that's going to only increase in value down the line. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.